Welcome
Back
to
another
episode
of
2
Dicks.
Exposed.
Yeah. I am one of your hosts.
Not Pat. And I'm your other host, not Mike. And today we are going to be continuing our journey through our childhood and hoping to relive a little bit of that nostalgia with you.
Did we ever stop having a childhood, honestly?
I'm still a child.
Yeah, we're still children.
Speaking of children, too, we are also joined by our third mic there, Flufferman.
Children.
Can we not use Flufferman and children in the same sentence, please?
Too bad.
That's
It's
for
already
the
happened.
court system to decide.
That's
Down.
fair. I've legally changed my name.
About time.
No. Anyway,
So, today's episode, we're going to be talking about superhero cartoons that we
that
grew up
are
with.
not Marvel or DC.
Yes. Man, like where do you start?
I mean, I think we got to start at the top of the list because that makes sense.
That makes sense.
And also, like, so this franchise can basically be for every viewer we have because
Oh, yeah.
kind of like Scooby-Doo, every 5 years they reboot it. So, like, everyone experienced this
Right.
during their childhood, and that is the Ninja Turtles. Now, we had it back in its glory days,
Yes.
in the
original.
90s, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage.
Ninja
So, I mean, now they've
Turtles.
done crazy stuff, and I don't think Ninja Turtles has ever actually had a bad reboot up until Michael Bay.
Okay, yeah. All right. I was gonna say, I thought you were about to talk trash about the CGI one that.
No, it's quality.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Like the only thing I don't like about that eventually is that the guy who is the main character in American Pie, I forget his Jason Biggs. Thank you. I literally came to me as I was saying it out loud. Jason Biggs was the voice of Leonardo in the first 3 seasons, and
Okay.
then he left, and then Seth Green became the voice of Leonardo for the last 2 seasons. And I love Seth Green. Robot Chicken is hilarious, and I literally love.
See,
every
he's always
season.
going to be what's his face from Buffy
Scotty.
the Vampire.
Oh no, I never watched Buffy.
Or Scotty.
Yeah, Scotty.
From,
I was gonna say Scotty from
Austin Powers.
But yeah, it takes a while. It's like back when we used to watch Dragon Ball Z, the one per episode, when they originally aired the Green Ocean dubs, and then they switched to the Funimation dubs. So you had the original Goku and Vegeta. I can't remember their voice actors, or if even they're worth remembering.
I think they were just like whoever was in the office that
Right.
day. They
And
just
then
pulled.
Now we have Sean Schemmel and Chris Sabat, but it's
Right.
funny. There was a time where I was like, I hate these voices. I was like, oh my god, the new Goku and Vegeta are bad, and now it's it's blasphemy to say that because they are Goku and Vegeta.
So what also that reminds me of, and we'll get it more into this later, but Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh,
Because
Pyro.
unfortunately,
yeah, that was
what's his name? Mako.
Yeah.
He passed away before recording season 3.
That was
so
a
they
sad-
switched it over to
yeah.
a different voice actor, and I completely understand it, and I'm kind of happy they did that because he was such an important character to the show, and Zuko as a character,
Right.
couldn't have done anything without Iroh.
I want to touch
But-
on that just a little bit real quick before we go back, because that's a whole episode. But I do like the fact that the original creators decided to give Uncle Iroh less speaking roles, and the following episodes that followed,
Right.
almost all of season 3, he's
jail.
in jail, and he's not talking to Prince Zuko, and it's they knew that they were all right, we just got to dial his character back.
Right.
And it makes you wonder, if Mako didn't die, how would have
What
Iroh's
his character
story-
would have been.
What
I feel like the White Lotus would have been way more involved
Right.
in season 3.
yeah.
But that being said, even though they had to completely remove a core character, season 3 was amazing.
Oh yeah, fantastic. But we'll roll that back because that is literally next episode that we're recording.
Yes.
So. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was fantastic. I met I had a manager way back in the day who was obsessed with it, and she had all of her whole a whole sleeve tattoo of TMNT 90s cartoon animation on her arm.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, it was cool. She was awesome. She had Krang was here, and his tendrils came down, and all that. It was a really cool
That's
arm
awesome.
tattoo. But I'll ask you this: who is your favorite turtle?
I feel like you got to say either Mikey or Raph.
Mikey and Raph are definitely the two. Mikey. I feel as a kid I loved Mikey,
Yeah, because he was a kid, but
Yeah.
you also had to like Raph because you're like, oh, brooding badass.
Brooding, yeah.
And no one liked Leonardo as a kid because it's like, oh, he's the leader. He's just
I'm a big fan
stopping
of
all the fun.
Donatello now that I'm older.
Yeah, I was gonna say definitely
Because now that
more
like,
Donnie. Now
I'm
that
a
we're
nerd.
older.
I'm like
They've
I
also
fucks
kind
with
of like
him.
changed his character too. Like in the newer series, he's more like laid back, down to earth. You know,
he's not as uptight nerd. Like don't touch that. These
he's
are
more
my
of like
things.
I'm gonna make these gadgets and see what they do type nerd, as
Right.
opposed to like, oh, this supercomputer can calculate 3,000 megabits of data per
It's
beep
like
bop boop bop.
annoying nerd.
Yeah,
And this might be a hot take. I think, what is it, like the 2010s Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles is my favorite version of the Turtles.
The one that
TMNT
the
or-
CGI one we're talking about.
The actual cartoon, not the movie. Like the show.
Yeah,
Or
the,
Nickelodeon, yeah.
the one we were talking about with Jason Biggs as the voice of Leonardo.
But mainly the universe they had. Like, did you guys ever watch
Oh, no,
like
that-
the Future movie? Where like they just have the fight scene on like the moon with Shredder or something like that.
that animation
It
was
dope.
ridiculous.
That
Yeah.
whole series, I hate to say this, but like as much as I love the '90s, the 2010 Nickelodeon TMNT is actually probably the best one.
It just has so much like lore in it.
It's
Like
so
they
much
cared
more.
about it.
Yeah, they really
Yeah.
like you could tell that the staff behind it like had like a deep appreciation for like the characters in general, because like I mean Leonardo, like his whole thing when he was like, "Oh, why did you choose me as leader?" and Splinter was like, "Well, because you asked," and like leading him down
Took that initiative. And
yeah, like the whole sequence where he's like, Splinter comes out and he's like, "Where's your brothers at?" And he was like, "They didn't want me around." Blah 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 blah. So I just let them just take her. And like Splinter's like, "That's not what a leader does." And like I'm like, this is so good. Like this is so good.
I think that's why like all the shows from like 2010 to 2016 were so good because the kids growing up with that
Yeah.
became animators. They're like,
Right.
if these people are gonna have kids, they're watching it with their kids.
It
Let's
really is
throw them
true.
a bone. Like let's put them something in there.
You think about that, like, 'cause that's the same generation where we got Phineas and Ferb,
Yeah.
which is
Misadventures of
coming
Flapjack.
back.
Yeah, which is coming back. Misadventures of Flapjack, Chowder,
Adventure Time was great. Yeah,
Yeah, we definitely hit this weird turning point where cartoons are made for adults.
Yeah,
I think
But they were
regular
more-
show is like the first one that really
Regular
like,
show?
pushed the boundaries on that.
Oh, what's the one?
Yeah.
Gravity Falls. Like, and the best
Gumball,
part-
did you
what's the
mention
worst-
Gumball?
I love Gumball. That show is so great, and I'm glad it's getting a movie. But now, like modern cartoons, it's like Teen Titans Go. Like that's like what they go for, because like
Yeah.
children like now like with like the advent of TikTok and like fast humor, like I feel like that's just the way it has to be. So
Which I can respect to a
I
point.
can
'cause,
respect it.
I grew up on like Mel
I
Brooks
doom
and
scroll.
Leslie Nielsen, which was all just like a lot of quick like one-liners. Like you just gotta,
Right.
catch on to it and just move on to the next thing. There was no long
Oh,
drawn out joke. But
I respect it. Like I'll be like, dude, you see how many reels I send you a day?
yeah, I ignored a lot of them.
I doom scroll. Like I still find it funny, but
It's gotten to the point where I'm sitting at work and like work's gotten stupid busy, and it's just like message, and I'll pull like the drop down and I'll see like 9 missed like reels sent from
I'm
you,
just literally like sitting.
and
at
I'm just
work
like,
and
all right, I finally got a free chance, but I know I can't turn the volume on and watch any of
any
these
of these because I'm not
in work. My work's pretty lenient, and I feel like some of the stuff you send me,
No,
I
yeah,
get fired.
No, it would definitely get
Yeah.
you fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a couple another superhero one that I do want to put on there real quick that you didn't have on there, and I can respect it because maybe you didn't watch it, but Darkwing Duck.
Yes.
Let's
no.
Get Dangerous, man.
I don't remember it.
Oh, okay.
And actually, I'm gonna throw that out there. A lot of these shows that we're about to talk about, I don't remember
Really?
like anything that happened except for the fact that I watched them,
Oh, okay.
and like
You have like a
like I have a memory of me sitting in front of the TV watching these shows, and Darkwing Duck is one of these because I remember the theme song.
Yeah.
I just don't remember anything that happened.
What I find enjoyable about the 90s to early 2000s to like the 2010 era, like I would call it the 30, like like those 30 years, like
90 to 2010. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
20
Right.
years. Yep.
20
Matches out to
20
30.
years. So like those 20 years worth of like animation would probably be like the golden years of cartoons. I mean, like legit, like that's like where, because like when I was a kid, and you were a kid, because we're not that far apart in age, we were still watching a lot of the cartoons that we watched were carried over from like our parents, like Hanna-Barbera,
right?
and
Looney Tunes,
Flintstones, Jetsons.
Yeah.
And then I feel like in like the 90s there was like, okay, well, we need to like start making cartoons for kids, because like all we're doing is showing them reruns and they're getting bored of it and they're playing outside all the time. How do we get them back inside?
We need them to get fat and sit in front of
Right.
this screen.
And that's when you got like, the 90s was the edgy generation. That's when you got like
SpongeBob and
well, that was 2000s.
was it?
SpongeBob was 2000.
The edgy generation. Your first thought is
Do you know
SpongeBob.
how many sexual jokes are in SpongeBob?
Yeah, I love the episode where SpongeBob shows up and like he just has like an AK-47. Yeah,
Classic.
classic.
Generations is Angry Beavers to me.
Angry Beavers, yeah.
Oh, Ren and
See,
Stimpy.
I'm thinking.
Ren
I don't.
and
It's
Stimpy,
probably on the
Beavis and
list because
Butthead.
I haven't looked at it. But like,
Dude, Beavis and Butthead
Yeah.
has a new series out right now. So fucking funny.
Is it?
He did not lose his touch with this new like 2 seasons, and it's like so the original Beavis and Butthead still exists, but it's like the way the cartoon's shot now is that it's Beavis and Butthead but as middle schoolers in like today's age. But then again, every now and then, like a Beavis and Butthead, which are clearly parodying the Watchmen, right? So like they look like the Watchmen.
Okay.
They're like, let's go back and we'll talk about like the what about a universe where Beavis and Butthead grew up in the 90s? So then like it shows Beavis and Butthead as an adult, and it's our Beavis and Butthead, but like now as adults, and like still making jokes based off of the 90s and stuff like that.
All right.
It holds.
That was Beavis and Butthead was one of like the holy trinity of shows I couldn't watch as a
Right.
kid. It was Beavis and Butthead, South Park, and strangely enough, The Simpsons.
Really?
Yeah.
Your brother's a walking
Obsessed.
talking. Like,
we
yeah,
were
so-
not allowed to watch it at all.
Really?
Out of the 3, The Simpsons was the one we could easily get away with, though,
Right.
because like it just aired like during the day when like my dad wasn't home, and my mom would just be like, "All right, just go downstairs while I cook dinner
Right.
or something like that." So we would watch The Simpsons, but like South Park and Beavis and Butthead, it was just like absolutely not. You were not
Honestly,
getting
with
near
good
this.
reason. We were like 10 years old. They're just
Oh, yeah.
like everything going on. I think that was like the height of the Tally episodes. So
Yeah.
like probably not a good idea.
I got away with it because like I just moved to where we all like were growing
This
up at.
current state we are in.
Yeah, it's current state, but like the county where we all grew up in.
I gotcha.
I
Okay.
just moved there, and like I came from my original hometown, and like I was like ostracized because like I moved like in 3rd grade, and like a thing about like kids is like first kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade are about like cementing your friendships. So like these kids already had
literally
friendships.
putting your friends in cement and dropping them into
straight
the,
up. So
the
like
reservoir.
all these kids were like watching South Park and stuff like that, and my mom was just like, well, he's already having a hard time finding friends, I'll allow it. But like the rule was I was not allowed to like
Reenact anything.
I was not allowed to say any of the things, right? So like when the movie came out, like shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker, like that stuff like that, like
Right.
was not allowed to like do any of that stuff. So like if I was caught ever like copying any of the lines, was not allowed to watch it. So I kept that like deep to myself and just kept it under wraps. Beavis and Butthead, my dad loved it, so my mom was like, well,
Bonding
if
moment.
if my husband's gonna have it on the television show, like I can't stop him.
You know what else is weird too? That like it's something else that I think died out with our generation was kids not being allowed to curse.
Yeah,
Like I remember growing up, and I think the first
Not.
curse word I said was like in front of my parents. I was like 17 because I just wasn't allowed to curse at
Right.
home. And I mean, I'm in middle school, obviously cursing with like my friends because saying like fuck and poop. Yeah,
Yeah.
the curse word poop. It was like hot shit back then. He called the shit poop. But yeah, like I have a nephew now who I think started cursing when he was
Right.
like 8.
yeah.
And
It's my same thing with like me. My dad was I was allowed to cuss when I was like 6, 7 years old, but only if my mom and my sisters were not home. He was like, you are not allowed to cuss in front of your sisters or your mother, right? Like,
Okay.
with me, like as your dad, it's we're just so mom and the sisters would be out. It was like shit, fuck, piss, shit, all that, like all the time.
like the door's shut. Dad, they're fucking gone.
Yeah, legit. Like that's what I would do.
Those bitches rolled out.
My my dad would roll back to the Beavis and Butthead thing real quick. There's a funny story about that. My dad loved Beavis and Butthead, right? And they finally had a movie come out, Beavis and Butthead Do America, and he really wanted to go see it. But like my mom was like, no, like whatever. I'm not gonna allow it, right? Like I think the idea of like the public seeing. Like like what if like her friends saw my dad take
Right,
me
like
into the
what would they
Beavis and-
think of me?
Yeah,
You know,
like now like
he must
watching
have a
it-
horrible mother letting
Right.
him come see this.
Exactly. Like how dare oh, that's they called me Joshua back in the day. That's Joshua. He's going into the Beavis and Butthead movies. Oh, his parents, because back when like society like
Cared.
talked, so he literally had to lie and say that we were going to see the newest Star Trek movie because my dad was a Trekkie.
Okay.
And there happened to be a Star Trek movie that was out, and my mom was like, "Oh yeah, well that makes sense. My son's a nerd and like Star Wars, so he probably likes Star Trek too." And it's like, I don't fucking like Star Trek. So, like she was like
Good.
completely fine with it, and my dad was like, "And we're gonna go over here." He literally bought 4 stubs. He bought 2 for Trek and 2 for Beavis and Butthead.
Very
in America.
nice.
He waited until like the showings were the exact same time to take us to the movies. He's like, and this Saturday they're both at 7:20, and yep, we're gonna go see Star Trek this weekend.
Dude,
Yeah.
there's only, I think there's 2 movies that stick out vividly in my head that my dad took me to see. The one was the Matrix Reloaded, the second one, whatever that is.
Okay.
And I just remember sitting there. It was me, my dad, and my buddy Jeff. And it opens up with that sex scene between Neo and Trinity. And I'm like,
Right.
oh, this is how this is going to go. Okay, this is weird. And then the second movie my dad took me to see was Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
I love that movie.
And my dad
I
loved
never-
that movie, which I was like blown out by because like we
Your
left
dad
it
loves that
and my
movie?
dad was like crying, laughing.
Dude.
He was like, this is the funniest, stupidest shit I have ever seen in my life.
You left that movie?
No, like at the end.
Oh, okay,
Like,
okay.
No, I think we saw that
you
movie
said- I
like
thought you
3
were-
times in
Dude,
theaters.
I love that movie. Oh my god.
There was a point where like me and my buddy Joe could quote it verbatim, like
dude.
start to finish.
Dude, there was a moment.
There's
Just still a moment.
we're living in that
Yeah.
moment.
This is the best timeline.
I can still.
Chosen one. Ling.
He left with nuts. Such a great scene.
Oh my god. Me and Flufferman over there, we were doing something like 2 weeks ago. And we were just sitting there. What were we doing? We were like beating something with a stick. We were trying to open. I don't remember what it was. And then like without talking to other, we were just like, hey. It's like, oh, don't tell mom. We were just like hitting him in the nuts.
You're setting something up in the living room, and you're like,
Now pile on
God.
top of him. I love that they beat him down, and they're like, now let's all pile on top of
It's
him.
like, hello, you can throw us off now.
I am bleeding, therefore I am the victor.
Oh my god.
This
my,
is
my favorite
copyright strike.
one. Straight up. Or the
Oh my god, that movie's amazing.
we
bro.
trained him wrong on purpose.
This is Wimplo.
Oh my god.
That's the guy.
Anyone
Should we
If he's
hate
got
this
an
guy?
ass, I'll kick it.
Because didn't he end up making like the annoying orange or whatever? Different guy. I know
No,
he made Thumb Wars.
Tongue Wars too.
He made
Thumb Wars. Yeah, they were
He made one of those
fingers.
things.
Yeah.
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 Every year,
You know,
there's
that's-
always a good theory going out that he's coming out with the second movie, and I'm like, please stop teasing.
So
me.
that's
What
Steve
is your
Odenkirk.
purpose?
right.
And Steve Odenkirk is actually the brother of Bob Odenkirk, who is Saul from like Better Call Saul and
Really?
Breaking Bad. Yeah.
Like,
God.
that doesn't surprise me. Like, it's a very unique last name, but like at the same time, like, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, without a doubt, Kung Pao is probably at that level now where that like I was saying, Evil Dead is now considered a cult classic. I would say Kung Pao's a cult classic.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go back to superheroes. Some of these,
Or, like,
yeah, I'm right there with you.
superheroes.
Captain Planet.
He's a hero. He'll reduce pollution down to 0. Dude, I gotta say, all these old cartoons had like the most
Bad
catchy
guys who
fucking
like
opening
to-
songs.
Yes. Oh my god.
Like
I-
that. I mean, we were talking about Speed Racer. It's like, here he comes, here comes Speed Racer. He's a demon on wheels.
My dad loved that anime. That is an anime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What else we got? We got
G.I. Joe, the All American Hero. You got Gargoyles. Like Gargoyles was my shit.
I remember like
I watched
loving it and
all
not
of it.
knowing anything going on.
I was way too young to understand like it's full like
That's
Story
full on
struc-
like biblical comparisons. Yeah.
straight up real actual like storytelling lore in that, and like they brought it back on Disney Plus because it was missing from Disney Plus's
Lineup.
for a while, and they brought it back, and like people were like pushing for it, like, oh my god, like finish the story, because the story doesn't have an ending, sadly. Street Sharks was also another one of those series.
Awesome.
Yeah, dude, fucking I love Street Sharks. I understand it's just a rip off of TMNT, but I fucking love Street Sharks.
Don't even care. I mean, everything was just a rip off.
It's
of
also proof
another
that
thing
sharks
back
aren't real.
there. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cartoon.
Yeah, exactly. So it just proves me more.
And then the other thing we got to talk about, which this is how we should have fucking transitioned from Kung Pao,
Right.
is Jackie Chan Adventures.
Oh my god, dude, I love
Like,
Jackie Chan.
why didn't we do that transition?
Still watch that show, Jackie Chan Adventures. I literally like I own all of that.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I own every episode.
Did that get an official ending? I know it was like 3 seasons.
It gets like an official ending if you are talking about the ending to like the original, like the whole story based around like the dragon trying to like.
Yeah. Well, I remember like the Talismans was season
Yes.
1.
Season 1 and season 2, because
Okay.
the demons get released in season 2.
Okay. And then
Remember.
season 3 there was an adult Jade.
Yeah, season 3 is where like it starts being like there's not like each.
It's not like a clear-cut story.
Yeah,
it's just-
it becomes episodic
Okay.
in a way, but it is.
What
it-
even happens in season? I don't remember season 3 at all.
I remember there being eventually an evil wizard that was the anti to Uncle.
Okay.
He showed up and was doing a bunch of stuff.
What season did they get like the underground military base? Is that season 2?
That's like season 1. That's like episode 1.
Is it?
Episode 1 is literally when Mr. Black shows up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like he literally like he saves Jackie and like from the hand or whatever the name of their group was.
I don't know.
Millennium?
I don't know. I just remember the huge sumo guy that eventually becomes
Yes,
good.
Toro, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved him. You mo guai guai fighting Sao.
I just
Come on,
love
man.
that, like, without fail, if you talk about it in public, one person is going to do an uncle impression.
One more
Yeah.
thing.
One more thing.
Ah, dude.
Uncle.
Jackie! I love that series with a passion.
It was
I'm probably gonna go home and actually binge watch it again.
Good,
It's
good.
fantastic. If we're going from Jackie Chan Adventures, we might as well go straight into Samurai Jack.
that's another one I haven't watched.
Oh my god, you haven't?
No, I need to.
It is
But
fantastic.
I love that people are speculating though that Powerpuff Girls is the precursor to Samurai Jack because they're like
Jenny
because
Tartakovsky.
well they
made
say
both.
that Jack is actually just the professor after he lost the girls and like
Right.
the world fell and it's him just being like a roaming nomad. I fucking ship the hell out of
But
that.
like, you never watched Jackie Chan. I mean, I'm sorry. You never.
I never watched
Samurai
Powerpuff
Jack.
Girls or Samurai Jack.
Okay, so like
I got nothing
there's a
to
reason
back
why
this
like
up.
that theory does not work at all, because Samurai Jack existed in the feudal era.
Or does it?
He definitely
Or
does.
did the world go through an apocalypse and revert back to the feudal era?
Sure.
Use your head, man. Read between the lines.
My favorite theory is the fact that Johnny Bravo and Samurai Jack are like in a relationship together.
I can also ship that.
Yeah, that.
Hey, I used it
there's a lot
correctly.
of- yeah, that.
Hey.
And
That
this is
is
going to get
correct.
cut in the episode.
Cut it.
It's getting cut though.
Cut me, daddy.
I mean, that man has so much range for animation. Like, have
He's
you
in
watched
that
his Primal?
Yeah, it's so good.
amazing.
So
So, do you support the headcanon that the caveman in that is the caveman that Dexter brings
Dexter
back?
finds back? Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's fantastic.
And his new one's really good. It's about like gods and like stuff like that. It just came out. I think it's on HBO.
It's probably on HBO Max.
Yeah. But I've heard nothing but good things.
I need to check that one then. I need to like I remember watching all Samurai Jack when I was younger, like all the way up until the movie, and then I remember like that's all you got, right? And then eventually, like decades later, like within like 8 years later, he announced like he was going to do Samurai Jack the final season, which was premiering on Adult Swim. But the issue was, like, it had been 10 years since I watched Samurai Jack, so I was like, I need to go back and rewatch all of Samurai Jack before I can even touch the last season. So, like, I still have yet to do that because, like, I just don't have the time to sit down and watch. Because, like, Samurai Jack is fantastic, but it does suffer. Like, the very first season is very episodic, right? Like, nothing really... It's like Supernatural, right? Like...
the demon of the week, the monster of the
Yeah,
week type
like,
deal.
he shows up. He shows up, and it was like less about the monster of the week and like more along like lines of like who did he meet that was oppressed by Aku this time? So like he shows up and like the very first episode it's dogs that are oppressed by Aku. He shows up and he saves them, and then like the next episode it's like these like tree creatures. And he shows up and he saves them. So it's always about like finding like going to the next village and helping them like fight back against Aku. There's a really cool mobster episode though, where like he pretends to be like a mafia guy. He's all dressed up like a mob boss. It's fantastic. But it's like Supernatural where like you got like 12, 20 episodes per season, but only 3 episodes are like story plot.
Okay.
Or like maybe like there's like 5 minutes in each episode that is about the plot, but then the rest of the episode's about.
Does he have like a long sit down moment at the tail end of every episode where he brings everything together? And
No.
okay.
But it is fantastic. The art's great. The music's great. The voice acting's fantastic. So like if you ever want to sit down and watch something, Samurai Jack's definitely up there.
That's fair. Speaking of great music too, Phineas and Ferb.
Yes.
Yeah, was it Bowling for Soup that sings?
I saw them live,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing them live in August, where they will perform.
The Phineas and Ferb theme song.
I saw them live with the Aquabats, and they without skipping a beat, they were just like, "If you guys thought we were gonna play Phineas and Ferb theme, y'all were incorrect, right?" And then the guitarist and the drummer just like started like playing the theme, and he was like, "Oh crap!" So like he like jumps into the song halfway, and the whole crowd like the guitar and the drum started playing the song. And like the whole crowd just started singing along, and then he was like, "Oh, I guess I'm joining in on this."
That's
It was
amazing.
fantastic.
Dude, what I love about Phineas and Ferb is like, so like in my office, right next to my office is my CFO, and I have like this, I don't know, my type of my personality. I just start singing randomly. Like,
Right.
it'll just be like my brain has waiting music. And so I'm sitting in, my office one day, just like typing away and all that stuff. And all of a sudden I'm like, there's 104 days of summer vacation. School comes around just to end. And my CFO walks in and she goes, but the annual problem of our generation is finding a new way to spend it. We just like locked eyes. And I was like, oh, you know Phineas and Ferb? And she's like, I love Phineas and Ferb.
When we started, like, when our friendship, like, really first started, like, that was, like, around the time, like, Phineas and Ferb was, like, the thing.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, when we, like, started actually hanging out, dude, you were, like, obsessed with Phineas and Ferb. Do you? Oh, yeah. You do have a berry.
Barry.
I love the constant, like, I find on, like, TikTok these days, like, Doofenshmirtz is, like, making, like, a big comeback.
You can't make a better villain than Doofenshmirtz.
There's so many moments where it's, like, a plumber platypus, Perry the plumber platypus.
He's just taking fan things now.
It's
Yeah, like he's just like reading fan comments. Or like, can you say like this in his voice? And it's like the most outlandish thing in the world.
he does it. It's so great. We have to like sit down and do like a short where we like actually go through, because I was bringing up like before I touched on a little bit like Chowder, Flapjack, Adventure Time, Phineas and Ferb, Gravity Falls. All these creators all went to school together and they all worked on each other's series.
Yeah.
Like it's like it. I don't remember. One of them is the first one. They got like one of them got their first show, and then they were all working on it. Like not all, but like 1 or 2 would be working on it, and then eventually Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon gave them their own thing, and then they brought in other people, and it's like a chain link of like just like fantastic cartoons.
Like there's an
one
episode
after
in
the
and of
other.
itself just with Gravity Falls and Owl House.
Yeah,
I would say Alex Hirsch is like the common thread with everything.
Yeah.
Like he worked on everyone else's shows. Like he just rose up, went to Disney, and now he like goes to court to fight for people. And you're like, you're messing with them because they're cartoons. You should stop doing this. Like, be
Right.
cool about it. It's great.
but another one that I also love that was like a superhero cartoon that like I adored was also Ben 10.
Ben 10.
I love Ben 10.
Dude, and that was one I got so mad when they reanimated it.
It's so bad.
Like-
I didn't need Ben 10 as a teenager.
No, like it did the same thing that like Teen Titans Going to Teen Titans Go did, except
Yeah.
they also killed the story.
Yeah.
No.
You don't like
With the car?
We're talking about teenage Ben 10, or are we talking about the reboot Ben 10?
Which one are you talking?
I'm talking about the reboot.
Okay.
Reboot's bad.
I was gonna say like
But I also hate teenage
Teen
Ben 10.
Ben 10 with the car.
Yeah,
And
that
where
was
like
cool.
she got powers and
With
stuff. was
Kevin
super cool.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that was cool, but no, I think within the last 5 years they rebooted it, and it's like really like
Oh no, the reboot's not fantastic, terrible. I'm gonna
terrible.
say,
Yeah.
Wow. How do you get those two words mixed up? But yeah, Bentown was fantastic, and it had an ending too. Like he finally beats what's his name?
Yeah, he has like a Gurren Lagann ending where he becomes like the universal monster or whatever.
Yeah,
doesn't
he finally like taps into the power of the Omnitrix, and he can like do all these things. It's ridiculous. Vilgax, I want to say was the name.
Gilgax?
Gilgax.
It was something Gax.
Yeah, I know it was Gax. I love when you find out like his uncle was like a plumber, like he was a plumber, but like when you find out what like a plumber actually is,
right.
I'm like, so awesome. Like,
It's kind of like the original Man of Letters.
Men in Black also had a cartoon.
Oh shit, they did.
They did.
I forgot about that.
Same thought process. What is it?
What is it?
It was the movie first about the
Osmosis Jones.
Osmosis Thank you.
Jones.
This man's reading my mind.
I
over
did.
Here.
I love that.
That was a phenomenal show.
Here's two other things that I'm talking to you, watcher / listener. I'm gonna say two shows that you completely forgot about, and you're gonna go, holy fuck, those existed. The first one, Mighty Max.
Mighty. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah. The second one, Mummies Alive.
Mommy's Alive.
Can I add a third one?
Eon Flux. That was a cartoon on Fox Kids
Sherlock Holmes.
in the 22nd century.
Uh-huh.
Yup. Which also had a bomb opening.
That's true.
Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century. Sherlock Holmes in the... They just repeat that like 9 times.
It's like the Big O opening. Big
Big
O.
He's just gonna pull the clip from the first episode.
It's like, remember that last time when we did this? It's like... to episode 5. Oh, shit.
Yeah, I mean, like...
I guess the big takeaway from this episode is go buy Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Yes.
For about $3 and watch it with your kids.
Kung Pao Enter the Fist. If you haven't watched any of these cartoons, we definitely recommend at least
Jackie Chan Adventures.
Jackie Chan Adventures.
At least that.
At least Jackie Chan Adventures. Like Phineas and Ferb.
And we got to give a throw out to this one because it's our producer's favorite cartoon, The Mighty Ducks. And I'm not talking about the one with Emilio Estevez.
The Mighty Duck Man.
The Mighty Duck Man, I swear to God. No, I'm talking about the one where they're superhero actual ducks playing hockey.
Are they like regular humans and then they turn into ducks?
No, they're from a planet.
Oh!
They're from a duck planet.
They are.
Okay.
Oh my god, that was a Disney cartoon, wasn't it?
Disney,
It was a
yeah.
Disney cartoon, yeah, because it was.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what's crazy though? The toys for the Mighty Ducks, like back then, are pretty pricey now.
Are they really?
Yeah, I tried to buy producer one for his birthday, and I was like looking into them, and I was like, oh my god, these are like $300 for like. And I think I bought you like a little car or something,
You
like
bought me the motorcycle, yeah.
the motorcycle,
Yeah.
because it was like the only thing under like $150, and so yeah.
Disney had the Hercules cartoon. There was
Yeah.
the Aladdin cartoon.
That's
Yeah.
the one thing. Like, if you have 20 minutes, do yourself a
Lion
favor.
King cartoon.
Go through any of your streaming services. Go to the cartoon section. Disney has like hundreds of
Right.
old shows on there. Hulu has, I think, like any animes from
I
way
think Hulu
before.
has Jackie
Like,
Chan Adventures. Actually.
Honestly, just like Google top 20 underrated cartoons of the 90s and take a shot every time you say, oh my God, I forgot about that.
yeah,
And it's
So,
streaming somewhere.
Kill yourself
Just
is what
go
you're pretty
look.
much saying.
Yeah.
That
Just be
gets
prepared to
believed.
take 20 shots. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely do like another episode where we just talk about more cartoons. Like
Considering we didn't talk about
we
any
didn't talk
in this
about
episode.
anything. We went
spent
off
20
a
minutes
long-
on Ninja Turtles and then
Kung Pao.
Just gotta do like a does it hold up episode.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Let's not do that actually.
Anyway, well, make sure you comment on this video if,
Yeah, talk about any of these cartoons if there's anything.
if there's cartoons or if you loved Kung Pao
as
and
much as we did.
say you want to watch us watch Kung Pao. I don't know.
Let's start the fan base of like let's get the trilogy. We were promised a trilogy. Let's
Let's
get it.
get the trilogy.
Show Talker has been redeemed. Now we're moving on to release the Kung Pao cut.
Steve
just hope he
Odenkirk,
moves
if you're
straight to
watching
the
this,
What's that?
What?
I hope he moves straight to the third one.
Yeah, straight to the
You
third.
wanted the second one? Too bad. We skipped it. Now there's a third one.
I would be okay with that because like it's him, and I imagine it would be funny.
Yeah, they were just like last time on Kung Pao, and it just showed that 5-minute clip at the end of the credits of the first movie.
Right.
And it's like this is all. This
all
is
you get.
this is the second movie. I just remember it ends with like 1,000 like of the triangles coming over the hill or something like that, and him just sitting there going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's like boom.
The gopher chucks.
Yeah.
Anyways,
And with that,
yeah,
you survived another week with not Mike and not Pat.
where we tried to talk about superheroes. I mean, he was a superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
I'll ship it.
We stayed on focus.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. I'll take it. That's a W for us.
Well, thanks for joining us on this adventure, guys.
Have a good one, man.
Yep.
If you enjoyed that episode, make sure to join us here every Thursday on YouTube and Spotify as we drop new episodes of that good shit.
And don't forget to give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok for some solid filler content to get you through the week at Not Mike, Not Pat. You should be watching.